Welcome to Creatives in Quarantine. I'm Tiwana Floyd, your host. This week, I speak with Cassie Brooksbank, writer, director, and renegade. We talk about her unconventional entry to USC Film School, working her first DA job, and her penchant for action movies and blowing things up. She's a badass director with an infectious smile. Here's Cassie.
Good to see you.
How have you been?
I've been well.
Yeah.
I
know. I miss your face. Like,
I know.
I've been cooped up here. I feel like, I have all these friends I want to see and I can't.
I know. Thank you for doing this. I was like, I'm gonna ask her because I want to talk to people who are very interesting that the mainstream does not know. And it's usually people that I meet at work or in some form of show, whatever. And then we're just too busy to really have a conversation.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it sounds really cool, and I'm excited you put this together.
Thank you for coming. So we met on a Ford commercial where you were directing, and I think I told you this, but I can't remember. There was the original audition. For people who don't know, the original audition is just the actor and a session runner. Then the callback is a director, is it the agency and the client? Is that right?
It's everybody. It's the director, the agency, the client, and then the producer of the project.
Right, the producer. And so when I walked in, I'm so used to having male directors. Then when you started to direct me, I said, oh, and I got really excited.
Who's this nutcase?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, oh, she's a woman. Like I perked up. Let's get this right. So I know you as a director, but we always have different creative outlets. What do you say that you're most known for creatively?
Blowing things up. I love action movies. So like everything I do kind of has some explosive element to it, I guess. But yeah, mainly directing, but I love editing as well. And I usually edit everything I direct, and I write too. So, and then for fun, I paint, but I don't show anybody those.
I understand. That's kind of like your poetry.
Moonlight painter, but that's not going to pay the rent here anytime soon.
Well, you never know. But did you direct the Ford commercial as well? Do you direct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, edit. Did you edit that commercial?
I did a director's edit, but the agency always takes it and does, the corporate edit.
Okay.
It was a little less exciting. But
I'm sure, right. America needs something that's just more straight.
Yeah. Usually you end up doing two cuts. There's like the more standard corporate agency one, and then you can do your own personal cut.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And so you and I have like a similar trajectory or journey, because I read that you started in music videos. Is that correct?
Yeah. I started in music videos and then moved on to commercials, and then I haven't done a feature yet, but I'm pitching on some, I want to do action movies ultimately, so I'm like heading that way. Mm-hmm. So working towards that. But yeah, I love starting in commercials and music videos, because I feel like a lot of my favorite directors started there, and you have not any time. You have to get so focused on, it's like you only have like a minute or 3 minutes, and you have to tell a complete story. So it just gives you an ability to like really hone in on your craft. It's kind of like a film school after film school, I like to think, and it's like once you start getting really good at like 1 minute or 3 minute videos, then I think it's a great training to eventually move on to features and TV, but you have like the eye for detail that you need to be a good director, I guess.
I feel like a 1 minute, even 15 seconds, 30 seconds is a much harder story to tell in terms of like a beginning, middle, and end, and making it concise and sometimes funny. Is that what it is that makes you a stronger director for film, for features, for long?
But yeah, at least for me, especially because I like action stuff, it's like edit it, you have, there's a speed, and it's like the attention to detail, I think, is really good, because, you could start out just doing like indie films or short films. And, I've done a couple short films, but when the stakes are so much higher on a commercial or a music video, because it's like, it's not just you in a way. And I think that's like a great training. It's like you have to work with the team, you have to work with the producer, and you still have to deliver something great. And then, you know, you're using other people's money, and in the real world, you're not going to be funding your own stuff. Usually it's like, you're going to have the backing of a client or a studio. So learning early how to, you know, get your voice heard and like work under those high pressure situations, I think is like a fabulous way to start, especially for the type of, you know, like I have a very commercial style, you know, and like my sense of humor and my sensibility, it like works well in commercials. And it was a really great way for me to kind of grow as an artist and practice, you know, before leveling up to features and TV. So, you know, like my favorite directors started that way, like Michael Bay, Tony Scott, Gore Verbinski, like,
Right.
you know, that's kind of their training ground, and it seemed to work well. It's working well for me so far.
Right. And then with action films, they usually are commercial blockbusters. So that makes sense to transition from that arena into the next arena.
Right.
So I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I have dreams and I think that they're real, but did you tell me that for what'd you say?
That makes two of us.
Oh, okay. Like, did I dream that? No, it was real. Okay. Sometimes I'm looking for emails to make sure something was real. So was the Ford commercial, you said it was your first something, but I can't remember what. Was it?
I mean, that was the first time I was on the Universal lot. So that was, you know, the first time I shot on a studio back lot. So that was pretty exciting.
Oh, okay.
That was, you know,
But it was.
I mean, that was my first DGA job too. So that
Okay.
the DGA. So that was exciting. So a lot more money to blow on that one.
Yeah. So then, is it kind of like any other union where your first one does it like Taft-Hartley you, or how does it work for you to get transition into the union?
You can either join right away, or else they give you a year where you can.
Oh.
You know, you can do DGA jobs, but you don't have to formally join for a year. But after your year is up, it's like you hit it or quit it, I guess. So, you know, you kind of.
At that point, you should know you're definitely here to stay.
Yeah, but I mean, no matter, it's probably the same for actors. It's like you have to join the union, so it's like once they make you join, you know.
Yeah.
It's not really like a choice.
No, that's true. Yeah, unless you do the other thing, which I don't care for. But
yeah.
So you went to USC Film School?
Yeah, I started out there, and I actually didn't get in originally. They denied me, so I got in as a history major because I kind of had a midlife crisis in high school where, you know, I thought I was going to go to law school because when I was in high school, you know, iPhones weren't really a thing. It was harder to make movies, and you know, I was in Nevada, so it wasn't like I really knew about Hollywood that much as a real career path. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of creative, I like writing, I'll just go to law school, right? That seems like the path. Yeah. And I was doing like an extracurricular leadership class, and we had to make a movie that made fun of the freshmen, and it was suddenly I was like, this is amazing, like I want to do this for the rest of my life, because it was like I always had these interests and they never coalesced in like one job, you know, like I was in the orchestra and I played music and I had a band, and, you know, I used to draw the school comic strip, and that's very similar to storyboarding, and the music was similar to editing, and I would do plays, and I'm also the oldest of 6 kids. So like I was always directing everybody anyway, you know? So it was like suddenly when I was actually directing a little film for my high school, it was like, I had to do that for the rest of my life. You know, it's like, everything I was ever kind of good at I was like great at one, you know, as a director. So I changed all my applications, and you know, I was like Googling like, what is a film school? Like, what are the good film schools? And I had already applied to USC as you know, for history or pre-law, and you know, and they're a great film school. So I like changed my application, but they rejected me because I had only made like one movie at that point. But I got in for history and pre-law. So I went there, but I never took one class for my, like, you know, what my major was supposed to be. And I like to say, like, annoyed my way into the film school because I kept like volunteering and getting really involved. And eventually everybody knew me there. And, you know, then I got in my junior year. And luckily, because I had taken all the pre-requirements for film school, I was able to get right on the track and graduate on time. But if I hadn't got in, I would have been really screwed because I didn't take one requirement for like pre-law or history, you know? So it all worked out, but it was really great that I didn't get in at first, because since I was trying to get in, it made me get so much more involved in the extracurriculars.
Yeah.
And there was a production company at USC, and it was the Trojan Vision. It was like their TV station, but they had a production company associated with it. So I got, I was making like promo videos and propaganda for the school, but I got to interview like all the famous alumni, and I learned how to make commercials and run a production company. So, then when I finally got in, it was cool. Like we were making our student films, but I had this whole other knowledge of like how to work with clients, and, and if you can make a promo video interesting, it's really easy to make a film interesting. It's like, you have to spice up a propaganda video, it's like, that takes a lot more. That's such a good way to learn, because it's like the other stuff's fun, but you have the attention to detail and you get the technical side, before you get to do the fun stuff. So then when I graduated, I had like a bunch of clients and I knew how to run a production company. So I was able to kind of direct for commercials right out of school. So, and music videos, but yeah, I mean, it all kind of worked out in the wash, but
yeah, it's like what I call providence and divine order. It's like you just doing the thing that you really love to do, and then everything else will create the path for you and give you insights on what to do next.
Yeah, I believe in that for sure.
And then you mentioned that you are also a musician. So do you play instrument?
Yeah, I can play a mean jazz piano. I grew up playing, I was pretty good at piano and viola. I always wanted to play the electric guitar, and my mom was like, no, you're going to be a violinist. Like that made sense. So I had to do orchestra as a kid. And, I was like in the back of the first violin. So then I think I got wise, and like 13, 14, I switched to viola. Mm-hmm. Suddenly I was like the front of the orchestra for viola, because nobody wants to play the viola. So, I was a great violist, not so good violinist, but the competition wasn't too crazy in the viola section. But, now I play the guitar. So I once I got older and I could do what I wanted, I bought a guitar.
Yeah.
So I just do that for fun. But, I have like I love editing, and I think the musical background I have like really connects in with that. It's just like having a good understanding of rhythm and beats.
That makes sense. When did you realize that you love editing? At what point did that?
That was pretty immediate. Like, that was a huge part of my love of film. Like the first time I opened up, I think it was like iMovie, that to me, editing to me is like the key to what I love about making movies. Like, I love directing, but it doesn't truly work until you're in the edit. And like the combination of like, fast cuts with the music, with the, and the like music to visuals, I love like pairing a funny song to a serious scene, or like, or vice versa. It's just like, you can have the whole thing doesn't really come alive until you're in the edit. And that for me was when I fell in love with making movies. Like once it's like I shoot for the edit. It's like I get through production to get to post, and like, that's just when all the magic happens. So that was pretty much immediate. Like the first time I got an iMovie, I was like, this is freaking awesome, And it's like this is like 1900s early film tricks, but I would make funny movies with my little sister. She'd like tell my little brother like, don't open my diary if you know what's good for her, and then she leaves, and then he opens it, and I'd have it blow up, and it was like terrible, but like little editing tricks crack me up, and I just think they're so fun, like so.
Oh, that's great. But then in terms of, wait, I have this really hot polyester shirt on, and it's.
It is, yeah, this is scorching.
It's not working in my favor. Anyway.
It's a cute shirt.
Thank you. I like the color. So I was saying, so here we are in quarantine. How are you staying creative if you are staying creative?
I mean, in a way, it's been good for me, because writing is something that is very important, but I hate doing it, and I always make excuses to not write my screen. I have like all these screenplays I should be writing. Right. And it's so easy when you're doing pitches or you have to shoot or whatever to like push off the writing. Yeah. But this has been really good for me, because now I'm forced to write because there's nothing else to do, So I've been writing a feature screenplay that I'm pretty excited about. And trying to get that done before we have to go back to work. And then I've actually been editing a lot too, you know, because that's one of the only things we can legally do now.
I know, right? Are you actually shooting or auditioning for commercials or anything right now?
I've been doing a lot of pitches, but nothing so far has confirmed shooting. So I have a couple maybes. You know, I've done about like 3 or 4 decks in the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's a weird time because everything keeps pushing.
Yeah.
And I have my own production company, and I'm also rep with Great Guns, which is like a bigger company. So I've gotten some direct to client stuff. So a little startup hit me up I'm going to be doing like an ad for they make this phone holder for your car. So I'll be doing like an ad for them, but that's like really small, you know, just to keep it safe and contained. So.
And your production company, did you just start that? There's something that you just collaborated with, or is that the Great Guns? Or
actually, no. So my company I started right out of USC, and that was kind of what I used as a base to then eventually I got signed by Great Guns, but they let me keep my own production company for my own projects and direct to client stuff. So, but I've been kind of growing that, and I'm in my office right now, and next door there's a stage that we built. So you know, we can have. So I did that with my DP friend Matt, and Matt McCarr. He's a great DP. Look him up if you need
Matt McCarr.
Some beauty lighting. He's the guy, you know. But yeah, he like is a genius with the technical side, and we like built out this stage, and you know we're renting it to productions and stuff. But it's also a great spot to be able to, you know, pop in there and do a photo shoot or a rehearsal or, you know, little small video shoots when I need them. So, you know, product photography, it's like really good. So,
and so going back to like the commercials right now, because there's like a few ways that people are doing things, whether it's shooting from home or some people flying to states where they're open now, or actually doing on sets with many restrictions and COVID parameters in place. Do you have a preference of which one you would prefer at this time?
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me? Because I don't know if my mic is on right. Can you hear me?
Sometimes it cuts out.
Okay. I understand. Oh, the Zoom cut off. Yeah, so I was asking because there's like 3 different ways that people are filming commercials now. So whether it's shooting from home and using like Zoom or something like that, or flying to a city that has not or that has reopened, or actually working on a set with these COVID requirements. Is there a preference that you have?
I mean, I'd probably rather just, you know, wear a scuba diver's outfit and get on the plane and go to where I can actually do my job properly. Because I mean, it's hard enough to make a movie without any restrictions, you know, shoot a commercial without. And I like to be there and involved, and like my style has a lot of cuts in it. So I'm really big on coverage. I like to move fast. Right. So, you know, when your time basically is cut in half with all these restrictions, it's really hard to do your job, you know, properly, you know? Yeah. So, you know, maybe that's not the smartest answer, but I'll risk it.
Yeah. I mean, there are precautions that can be taken.
Yeah, I'll mask up and wear my scuba diver's outfit.
Limited cast,
hazmat
crew, or people that work really well, and you just need a few of those people. So then with that, so you're saying that you're writing a screenplay right now. Does it have explosives in it?
Of course. It wouldn't be a Cassie Brooksbank movie if I wasn't blowing something up, right?
I love that. What's your favorite, if you have a favorite? It's hard to say a favorite, but what are some of your favorite?
It's not hard. Pirates of the Caribbean is the greatest movie of all time.
Oh, okay. Why Pirates?
It's just, I mean, that is a perfect movie. Like, I mean, Gore Verbinski to me is like the best director ever. Okay. And then I'm a bit of a rule breaker myself, but just the whole idea, you know, thematically that spoke to me. I just love adventure movies. I think it's funny because like now, like female protagonists are finally getting their due, you know, but I love that movie because like to me, Elizabeth Swann, she's the protagonist, but it's never forcing it down your throat, you know? It's just like, she's an awesome character and she like wanted to do more with her life and not just, you know, be married off. And, you know, she gets to go on this adventure and she ends up being like, you know, if you look at the first 3 movies, like that is her full arc. Right. And it's never like, oh, this is a feminist movie, like trying to make a statement. She's just awesome. And I think that to me is like truly the kind of movies I'd love to see more of, you know? And just all the characters are great. It really has a, you know, I love the style of it, the goofy sense of humor. And I have a penchant for sword fighting. Like I have some swords back there. So it's just like, all in all, you know, I was very much shaped by Peter Pan as a child, and I think I never grew out of it. And so then when I was a little older and there's like pirate sword fighting, like, what, it's rock and roll meets pirates. What could go wrong, you know?
Absolutely, right. And then, so you said you're from Nevada and you're actually from Las Vegas. Is it Vegas or just...
We're from Vegas, and then I grew up in Reno. So I was born in Vegas, and then we moved to Reno when I was a bit older. So.
Were you ready to leave Reno? Were you ready to leave Nevada, and that's why you came to USC?
USC. It was, yeah. It was more. I mean, you know, if you want to make movies, you kind of have to be in Los Angeles. Not so much anymore. I guess it's becoming more global, but it's still the epicenter, you know. And it just made sense to me. And I think it's good. It's good to kind of branch out and, yeah, like, you know, like I'm the oldest of 6, so like we had a very tight family unit, and I think it was good for me to do my own thing for a little bit, but ironically they all followed me here. So
oh, okay.
I left and they all followed me. So like I live with my sister again now, and like 5 out of the 6 siblings like live in LA.
Oh, that's great.
So they're my like inner friend group, but you know,
are you
stuck with them, I guess. What?
Are your parents still in Nevada?
Yeah, in Vegas. And then my mom actually moved down here recently. So my dad's in Vegas, my mom's out here, and that's been nice, like having her close.
Right.
We're a pretty tight knit group.
Oh, that's wonderful. Has there been anything in quarantine that maybe you listened to, a book or podcast or music, or that gave you inspiration during these uncertain times?
Actually, so speaking of pirates, I discovered Terry Rossio, who was the screenwriter, and with Ted Elliott. He has a super cool blog called Wordplayer, I think it's called. And it's like an old 90s style website. So it's like the interface is like it's like a real throwback, but he writes these columns on there that it's almost like there's like 50 columns, and each one is like, you know, it's long. It's like essays that feels like you're basically reading a book. But he just gives like straight shooting talk of screenwriting, and like, you know, he'll trash people, or he'll talk about how shitty it is to be a screenwriter, but it's like really good advice, and it's really interesting. And you know, he has all his screenplays up there.
Oh wow.
There's a whole community, and he'll actually write back to you if you know, so it's like it's just like very insightful for, you know, especially if you're writing a screenplay. I found that really inspirational. So I did that.
I like when people actually speak their truth, and not so much to be like malicious or mean, but just really speaking how they feel.
No, I mean, he's very honest about it. It's not in a negative way, but it's very refreshing to get like an inner look at how it really works and how hard it really is to sell the screenplay and stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And so do you have any upcoming projects that, aside from the screenplay that you're writing now, is there anything that you'd like this to keep an eye out for, or something that you maybe have already done?
I have a short that was getting ready to shoot right before COVID hit. So I'm like sitting on that. So once, you know, I got the budget assembled, and like we were just about to cast, and, you know, we were having all the pieces in place, like location scouting and all that. And then everything got shut down. So I'm kind of sitting on my hands, you know, and that's kind of the movie. It's called Thieves Die Alone. It's the movie I'm making to get back into the narrative space, you know, because you need a showcase. And the last time I made a short, I was in college, so I've gotten a little better since then. Like, I don't want anyone to see those, you know. It's like, I'm really excited to get that off the ground here, but I'm waiting for COVID to lift, because, you know, all our budget would go to, we can't even insure it right now, I don't think, because
right.
You know, we'd be COVID testing with the limited budget we already have. So.
Right.
It's like trying to find the right time to do that. It's a bit confusing, you know. And then my sister's actually a musician too, so I've been working on a music video with her.
Oh, that's great.
And we actually are animating. We're like learning how to. I learned how to animate some stuff for her, because we can't really shoot. So
yeah.
That's
a whole nother creative outlet, animation.
Yeah. Definitely a lot more time consuming than I thought when I went into it, but you know, It's good to learn, I guess. What about you? How's?
I think the first the first month was just like, what is happening, and still trying to behave in a way that's normal. And then after a while you realize, no, we're really kind of quarantined to stay. So then I was just like, okay, well, I don't really have to be anywhere or do anything. So what needs to be done? And it's been a lot of purging. I've done a paper purge. So now I'm paperless. I'm 98% paperless. That wasn't easy. Yeah. There's that. And then I created this, and then me and my improv team, we also are doing a web series on Zoom because we found that Zoom improv is horrible. And so we're just making a web series about horrible a Zoom class. That's just not good. So yeah, that's what I've been doing to stay creative mostly. And then just watching a lot of great films and television shows and catching up on everything since it's FYC season. So a lot of television voting has to happen now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I loved working with you, so I'm hoping we can get back to it once we get. And yeah, you do. It's funny because I know what we did. It wasn't real like a comedy, but we both had that like sense of humor. So
yeah,
I'm excited to get into
I finally just thought I looked at your website last night and I was like, oh, here it is. I think it was just about to launch, and then COVID came and.
Right. Yeah. Great timing, right?
I know. No.
Great. I actually got hit by a car too at the beginning of the year. So my timing, I'm fine, like luckily, but I was hit by a car. On my bike, I shattered my kidney. So I was out for all of February, and I finally got the stents out of my kidney. Like, I think it was like March 15th. Mm-hmm. So like I was already quarantined like a month and a half before everyone else. And then like literally the day I'm like, okay, back out, like ready to go. Like who wants to meet up? And it's like everything shuts down. And I was like, ah. So 2020 has been a bit
better for you because then you could even rest even further.
I guess, but I'm kind of getting, I'm a Gemini, as are you.
Yeah, same time. Yeah, it's right.
They're crazy. It's like, we got to get out of here.
We don't like to keep still, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could shatter a kidney.
I didn't either, but I learned from experience. Yeah, luckily it was a stage 4, so they were able to save it. But I guess it was stage 5, you lose the kidney.
Wow. You were close. Ooh.
Yeah, I was wearing a helmet, so always, this is my friendly neighborhood PSA to wear a helmet when cycling.
Right.
But other than that, I'm fine. So.
Did you cycle, or were you just riding a bike?
Yeah, cycle. Yeah, luckily I was in the whole outfit. I had the Lance Armstrong costume going on, and then I got smushed.
Goodness.
But I mean, I'm lucky that I had the helmet and the proper attire, because I think that it would have been a lot worse. My head dented the car. Yeah. My boyfriend cycles, and he got hit by a car and broke his arm or whatever. He actually just came from Pasadena. That's where he does his runs at the Rose Bowl. Oh man. Yeah, but he's fine. That was years ago. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, LA is not the ideal place to ride a bike on the street, I guess. Right. Really now we know. Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. I do want to ask you about the Todrick Hall Forbidden music video. Oh yeah. Was that straight out of college? I think that might have been. I graduated in 2011, so I've been out for a bit. Okay. Don't age me. But I did that. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But he had the idea. He wanted to do something kind of similar to Lemonade, like a music video feature film, and he had the concept. So we had a couple of meetings with him, and then based off of his ideas, I wrote the screenplay. And then I think it was me and 2 other directors. We like broke it up, and yeah, I mean that was crazy because we had like a month, and I think we had 6 weeks total, if not less than that, to do the entire project, including write the script and shoot it So that was a wild ride, but he's pretty. I guess he's known for the fact that he is able to turn this stuff out crank it out really quickly. Yeah, and I mean he's probably one of the best performers I've ever worked with. Yeah. He's able to turn it on instantly. Right. He knows what he wants. Super talented. With a clear vision. He seems like he has very clear vision. Yeah, and he has really unique, interesting ideas and takes on things. So he's a true artist. Yeah.
And so when you do something like that, where you're collaborating with other directors, what's that process like?
It's interesting because like, I mean, you definitely have to let go a lot more,
Yeah.
you know, than but I think that was good for me. And I think that's something that's, you know, like directors can get very in their own heads. And I think that's something cool about working with music videos, especially because like, even when you're directing the music video and you're the only director, the artist, it's not your video, it's the artist video, you know, and the artist in a lot of situations has very clear creative visions, and you're kind of like the channel to help them get that on screen, you know?
Yeah.
But like we all did our own videos, so it wasn't like we were all three directing every video, you know?
Okay.
So it's like I had my sections and they had their sections, but we were sharing actors and resources, and like sometimes you'd be in half the day and somebody else would be in the other half of the day. So, you know, it's just being like considerate and flexible, and like I love, you know, I really liked all those people, and it was fun. It was crazy. I think I lost my life from that, but you know, in a good way. It made me stronger.
Right. I think anytime there's a collaboration with creatives like that, it can be intense for all the right reasons, but also you do get like stressed from.
And I mean, for me, it was really exciting because like Colin, one of the directors, he's been working with Todrick forever, so he was probably like the first director brought on the project. He and I became really close friends through that process, and that was great because I haven't, you know, it's rare that you get to work with directors because like they're the one person you're never really collaborating with, because you always have team, you know, you meet lots of producers or you meet a lot of DPs or production designers, but like directors don't really meet a lot because they don't have any use for each other, you know? And
right.
He became my really great friend, and it's so nice to have a buddy that you can call and just commiserate with, like, oh, this pitch is terrible, or oh, this job was crazy, you know, or just
Right.
It's fun to have a director buddy. So that was, you know, that friendship grew out of that, and that was really exciting.
Right.
So
that reminds me of anytime if there's any type of improv team or creating a show with improv, it's the same type of like journey where it's stressful and it's messy. And like when I think about my grad review at Second City, there was one guy who had very succinct ideas, and so he was a pain in the butt to me, but his ideas were always great. So then to work and yield and also be collaborative, all of that.
I mean, yeah, and that's something, collaboration is like the key word, I think, to making this industry work for you. Like unless it's like no matter what you do in the film industry, you have to be good at collaborating. You have to learn to work with people even if you don't like them, you know?
Right.
So it's because otherwise, like you literally can't make a movie by yourself, or if you can, it would be not great, you know? So like if you're a painter or a novelist, that's its own thing, but like part of the art and being in the film industry is like you have to learn to play people, you know, and like integrate ideas with them, and like let everyone, and as a director, it's like really important to like not close yourself off to other people's ideas. It's like your job is to hear everyone's ideas and make something together. You know, it's like your paintbrush, the paints for you are your team. So it's like you can't stifle them. You have to like let them all collaborate, you know? And I think that's learning that, and being really good at collaboration is kind of the key to being successful and being a good artist in this industry, I think.
Yes, right. And then also spans out to relationships as well. You can learn to be a great collaborator in the arts.
I'm successful in that arena, but I'm working on that.
Because there's nothing.
You share your wisdom. I'm all ears. Doesn't quite work the same way, you know? Like
you think that it would, but yeah.
I gave you a call sheet. What?
These are the steps where here's a storyboard of how this is going to.
Yeah, like, did you not read the script? I don't understand. Like.
Right. That's hilarious. Well, I thank you for your time. Thank you for coming and participating.
Thanks for including me. I mean, yeah, I was excited to hear from you. I want to do more projects with you. You were super fun to work with.
Awesome.
That was a really great job. It was a
good job. Yeah. And the woman who was my stunt woman, her name is D something. She and two other women just started some new, oh gosh, it escapes me now, but they just started something new for stunt women that escapes me now. I just read about it in Deadline, but I saw her face.
Oh, well, if you find it, share it with me,
I'll send it
because
to you.
I'm really excited about that whole,
Yeah,
you know,
I
like,
sure will. Yeah.
action stuff is my jam.
That's right. That's right. That's right up your alley. I will send it to you.
I love that.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you. Good, so good to hear from you.
Thank you for watching Creatives in Quarantine. Keep an eye out for Cassie Brooksbank. She just recently signed with CAA, so she'll most def be blowing things up in her films. If you like what you heard, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Oh, and follow Cassie on Instagram. That's where you'll see the Ford commercial we worked on together. Until next time, bye.